The chair recognizes we've got a quorum and it's 4:32, and let's start our February 21st meeting. Okay. First order of business is the approval of the minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve: the January 17th regular meeting, the January 31st call meeting, and the February 9th call meeting. So let's start and see if do I have a motion to approve. Any motion to approve the January 17th call regular meeting?
So moved.
Anybody opposed to, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Anybody opposed to approving those minutes? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is a review of the special call meetings of January 31st, 2017. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I make a motion we approve those minutes for the special call meeting January 31st.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. January 31st special call meetings minutes are approved. Final meetings is a special call meeting of February 9th, 2017. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay. All those in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. The minutes, please recognize that all 3 minutes were passed. Okay. Next thing is some old business. We've been talking with AT&T about a second easement out there for an optical easement. I think Josh has a report on that. I think we've moved a little forward on that, haven't we?
I think we've got it pretty well taken care of. I got I sent the proposed revisions to Mike Smith, and he got back to me this morning with the final version that just incorporated everything that we asked for. They didn't have any problems with it. And so I gave Joe a copy of the proposed easement, which we can incorporate into the minutes of tonight's meeting. And what I would like to do is for the board to authorize Joe to sign this, and then he can come by my office tomorrow and sign it exactly as it's presented according to the document that we got today.
And we can get it notarized too.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So, all those in favor of approving our,
I think you need a motion.
I want a motion, can we have a motion to approve that AT&T easement?
Make a motion to approve, you sign that easement as negotiated by our attorney.
Okay. And do I have a second of that motion?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving that motion?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Thank you, Josh. That was a labor of love. Chip, you want to talk about some maintenance items or kind of some things of where we're...
We have, on the recent FAA inspection, one of the items that they wanted addressed was the striping on the runways and the taxiways. And so, obviously painting is real expensive and a time process. So Kyle did some testing with pressure washing on the taxiway stripes, and it worked out real well. So we have 2 bids to do all the runways and the taxiway entrances onto the runways. We'll have to figure out a timeline. It'll probably entail closing the runway at night. But we have one bid for $9,290, and the other one for $4,895, which I think that's probably a pretty good deal considering what paint would cost.
Yeah. And we're talking about power washing. If the guy doesn't do it to our specifications, we won't pay him. I mean, we'll follow it and see. I mean, we actually had a bid for $19,000 too. So I don't get why there was so much disparity between the proposals. But anyway, I would like to move. Can I have a motion to move forward?
I'll make the motion. We should move forward.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And then just to keep everybody in the same, on expenses over $1,000, I'll proactively try to bring them to the board so we can approve them. So that's what we're doing here.
And are you guys, you're looking at their insurance that these guys all have?
That I guess we can before we.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because Kyle had reached out to a couple of people who did that for bids. So
I'll just go ahead and get us named as an additional insured.
Good
during
idea.
the time that they're out there.
It's in our minimum standard that vendors have to have certain levels of insurance, so that's a great catch.
I'll make sure we get that done.
No, they power washed at St. Elmo, and I thought they had painted. They just power washed it.
Well,
It
painting
really
was-
makes a difference.
Painting was $160,000. You know, that was real money.
Power washing looks even better.
It looks real
For a
good.
lot of reasons.
Yeah, it looks real good. Okay. All right, next.
Well, what about
Oh.
the repair of the asphalt?
Oh, yeah. We have the south taxiway from the T-hangers has some damage to the asphalt, and Kyle got an unofficial quote. Let's see, what was it? Or do you have it here for about $4,000?
Yeah, basically, we have to take out a 20-foot by 20, I mean, there's some settling, differential settling of the runway. You know, Kyle, Hank Eubank looked at it for us. Basically, he's gonna take a 20-foot by 20-foot section out, and then basically redo the sub base and then put more asphalt on it. He said he thought he could do it for under $4,000. I mean, get it done for that, but that's Hank's estimate, but I'd like to,
That's on the taxiway?
you know what I'm talking about?
Where the T-hangers are, the very
Yeah.
south taxiway. You can see it.
So I'd like to move forward and get that, I mean, that's just a maintenance item that we just need to do,
I
so.
think we did.
Only gonna get worse. We
No,
don't
it
address
is.
it.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion that we spend up to, let's say, $4,500 to repair the taxiway asphalt?
I make the motion that we spend up to $4,500 to do the repair on the taxiway.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of spending up to $4,500 to repair the asphalt on the taxiway?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Treasurer's report.
Well, the financials, you guys, I've given a copy of the financials, and I guess going through the income, two things worth noting is that consumer price index increases kicked in on the public safety hangar and on the Continental hangar, so that gave us an additional income there of $4,000, I believe, over what we were experiencing last year. So kind of that tool within those leases to increase the yield to the airport authority started paying off on this first cycle that came through. So that's going to be one thing that we see as a positive there. On the expense side, you guys had a screenshot there. There were a couple of expenses that were just a little bit out of the ordinary
Yeah.
on there, and one of them, it seems like the lightning is always something that we deal with, and we had a repair.
We had a $1,000 gate repair.
Yeah, $1,000 gate repair, and then we had a $2,800 repair. And Joe,
That was actually in August, and we just got around to paying it. That
Yeah.
was from the AWAS.
yeah,
And they've changed hands. The company that services our AWAS is now a company called DBT, who we don't have a contract with. But I mean, so they billed us, or they didn't bill us until like December. So we just got around to paying that. So that's actually in August, slotted. I think in August, September slotting. So anyway, thank you. Anything else? Any other comments? So okay.
You want a brief on the Mid-Bay Air and
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
wasn't on there, but
Yeah, it wasn't on there.
I went by yesterday to look at Mid-Bay Air and Alan Bones hangar, and I've got some pictures.
Cedar
if anyone
Creek.
wants to see
Cedar
them. Cedar Creek. Coming along well. I'm taking bets on who's going to win the race, but on Cedar Creek, as you can tell, it's come along very well. And then here's Mid-Bay Air. I've got more pictures, but the steel girders have come up on the back.
Still's all been delivered as of last Thursday, wasn't it?
yeah, it's been erected.
Okay,
now.
good.
And so they're both looking good.
And the FAA were visited with us Thursday from Jackson, and they commented on how good it looked. And
Good.
we had lots of planes on the runway because we don't have any hangar space. They just thought we were busy. So, any more comments? Okay. Let's see. This next one is a little bit out of ordinary. We run or manage the Aviation Academy. Basically, we're the landlord. And the Aviation Academy's had some success in the welding program, and they've asked us they're looking for grant funds for about $65,000 to expand the welding lab. the goal was that when we got to this point to build a second building, but right now we're just going to expand the welding lab. They've got some grant money to do it, but since it's our building, they've asked us for a letter of support. So all we're offering is a letter of support to the grant writer for them to expand the welding lab off the footprint. We've actually had an architect out there. It's not going to affect the architectural context of the building. We think I think it'll be fine. It's adding about 500 to 700 square feet in the back. It'll allow them to store their materials outside, and I think it's one of those things that we just ought to do, and just be glad we're part of it. Any other comments?
If anyone hasn't toured that facility, it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
It's pretty invigorating, especially the students, as enthusiastic as they are, and what they've accomplished by that program. I think it's a feather in our cap that we have that.
So with what I'd like is the board's authority to write a letter of a recommendation or supporting the expansion. So have a motion to that effect.
Yeah, motion. Make a motion that we do the letter supporting the expansion of the welding lab.
I'll say.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Did they have a great turnout at their recent open house?
Yeah. Why don't you talk about
Yeah,
it?
it had a really good turnout. They had teachers there explaining what they did, the students that were there. And, it was, Jack and I went to Sherry Lee over there, and it was in full
During the day.
during the day, and it was in full motion, and the students are pretty excited about it too. It's pretty interesting, and I think they've had quite a phenomenal success rate and career paths for all the students for the trade that they've learned going there. And these are pretty good paying jobs.
Yeah,
they're
they're good
rolling
jobs.
out of there starting jobs that are paying $30-40 an hour, so it's pretty neat.
That's good.
So anyway, it's a success story. And the open house we went to, they probably had 65 or 70 parents and kids that were, who are going to be next year students. That's up from about 40 last year. So it's growing as we speak. Okay. All right. An update on the construction of the East Side project. I got my 5:30 alarm. Actually, I got it Monday morning, and they're Volkerd, I guess Walton is 46% complete, and 46% of the days have been used, Rich. Does that seem a little odd?
It's perfect timing.
So 46% of the project's complete, and 46% of the time's been used. And to date, we've only paid $180,000. That's because FAA's been slow in reimbursing. So we're well ahead. I mean, that's kind of a funny way to do it, but I checked with Deborah before, and we have not gotten any more money, reimbursements, and we haven't paid anybody either. So, but they're on track. Kevin Morgan and Lance Johnson with the FAA came and looked at the project last Thursday. I guess they did quarterly inspections, and they were just. I mean, I think it was Lance's first time ever to actually put boots on the ground and actually see it, and I think he got a better visualization of what we're doing. And then the fact that all those planes were on the runway, I think, helped too. That he could see that they needed hangar space. So it was pretty good. So anyway, questions? Okay. Discussion on development of the west side of the airport. Really nothing to report. I've talked to a couple of realtors. I think I kind of dropped the ball there. Talked to a couple of realtors. They were going to put some proposals together. To be honest with you, I hadn't followed up with them, but that's on my to-do list at some point in time is to follow up. I mean, I'd like to get, I mean, that's kind of what we need. I mean, we need to get some concrete proposals from real estate agents about what they want to do on the west side and about what they can't think they can do. Okay?
Did you, when you guys went out there to Sherry Lee, did you guys get any ideas or bring her into kind of that discussion?
No, I mean, she had a good tour of Continental, and we went through the academy and kind of drove and showed her where the land was. I mean, she was very interested. She had some thoughts on some developments that we just shared in general conversation, but I I got the impression she felt that there might be some pretty good potential for us there.
I mean, it's, you know, it's an advantage site. I mean, it's an advantage site. We've got it platted. We don't have the plats recorded, and we've got a road sketched in there. I mean, you know, we're just looking for somebody to come in and buy one or two of the lots to get it started. You know, and have more of a vision as to what we want to do with it.
I have a meeting scheduled on the 28th with her.
Good. Any other discussion? Okay. Number 10, approval of the proposed refinancing of the Airports Authority's debt. I kind of, you know, make sure everybody's on the same page. We went out with a request for proposals on January 6th to 6 banks that expressed an interest that had been actually, you know, most of those banks that had basically proposed in the earlier proposal in September. We added 2 more banks that expressed an interest, Regions Bank and Community Bank. We got 6 proposals back. They were not compliant with the RFP. In September, we went back to the banks individually and asked them to remove language that we couldn't live with or were inconsistent with the RFP. We, for the most part, have clean proposals now. Josh, is that fair?
I think so, yes.
So anyway, I think, you know, I went back to the banks. I went back to the banks last Thursday and asked them. Most of those proposals had matured, and I asked them to refresh the proposal of rates and the terms as far as extensions. And anyway, I passed this around. I didn't print it out because, I mean, I didn't send you all an email because the banks were asked me not to send out, you know, not to give the rate sheets and their term sheets out. So anyway, this is what it is. I mean, everybody send us, may want to start a discussion on where we are.
And I've talked to a couple of you guys. I'm going to have to recuse myself from talking about this. I'm on the board of one of them.
Okay. Okay. You know, in fair disclosure, I used to work for Regions and, you know, was president of local market in Shelby County. I mean, I'm not going to recuse myself because that was 10 years ago, but I think that's one of the things, I mean, I am going to disclose it. Chief Operating Officer of one of the banks, so I don't know. I mean, we all have dealings with banks, if you will.
I'll open that discussion. I have 2 of these banks I have checking accounts with. I don't have any loans with.
It's a good
I don't have
thing.
any loans before the loan committee. So if you look at pure numbers, and I'll call them my name, Bryant Bank appears to be the best interest rates. It looks like 3 of them came back exactly along the RFP, if I'm understanding this correctly, that, you know, it cannot be refinanced until 9/30 of 2020. Bryant Bank did offer an option with a penalty for the first year, the second year, third year, and then for a 4th year, which would go into 2021. And it's a declining penalty. So I would have to say that's pretty much conforms. It's better than no refinance.
No, I mean, if you look at Bryant's and actually get into it, you can't refinance for 4 years without a penalty, but if we sell land if we sell land on the west side or the east side or get an FAA redemption, then we basically can use that money, we can apply that money to the loan. They're reimbursed, penalty free, that's right. Their optimal redemption only affects a true refinancing, not pay down, if you will. But the other 3 of the other 4 banks were consistent with what we asked for, that you couldn't pay down to 2020, September 30th, 2020, which is what was in the RFP. So that's, you know, no prepayment penalties, no make whole provisions or anything like that.
Joe, and you correct me if I'm stating this wrong, it looks to me like in that 4th year, which is when we could redeem with the other 4 banks there's a 1% penalty at Bryant Bank in year 4. However, Three of those, their interest rate is considerably cheaper, so we would
Yeah,
obviously
you could
save
do-
money
yeah.
by having that 1%.
Without, I mean, the numbers are clustered around one certain number, 220, and then the other proposals are in the 202, 203 range. So, I mean, there's obviously a differentiation between the proposals. And they've held, the rates have held steady pretty much since about the middle of September. I mean, since the middle of January. Rates have kind of, been relatively constant.
I'd make a recommendation that we go with Bryant Bank.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll say.
Okay. And I would be remiss if I didn't, Mayor Wilson's here and she can talk to this if she wants to. There are 4 or 5 terms that she wants to include in any type of bond redemption, bond refinancing. My sense of it is I think we can do all of those, but there's still a couple gray areas. I mean, we've talked about them all offline. I think we can do all the things that she asked us to do as part of the refinancing. But that's an attorney. Josh, you want to speak to that?
Well, I'll only say that there's still a lot of work left to do. The board can select a bank, but then the deal has to go to a lot of other people to put their eyes on. Bond counsel for everybody involved, that being the authority, the city, and the bank. And so there's a lot that still has to take place, just aside from approving this, which everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just one step in a process, and these low interest rates reflect the fact that we want this loan to be tax exempt. But to do that, I've learned a lot more about how that has to happen than I ever thought that I would. But so there are a number of requirements that have to be met under the Internal Revenue Code for that to happen. Hence, the negotiations and dealings that are going to have to go on between the airport authority, the city, and the bank, and bond counsel for all of those in order to get this to a concrete deal.
And to put it in perspective, right now the rate is floating, and the rate at the end of February was 2.12%. That's a floating rate, and that, the Fed Open Market Committee meets in March, that could go up again. Right now, this rate would be fixed in around 2% for 7 years. That's the magic, is we're fixing the rate and changing the amortization schedule. So we're doing two things. We're fixing the rate at a good rate for 7 years, and we're reducing the amortization schedule. Instead of paying $305,000 in March 15th, we're going to pay $175,000 on September 30th. So I think that's really adds some magic to it. Okay, so I had a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, all right, I'll call the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, and I recollect that Ray didn't vote, and I didn't vote either. Okay. Any other business? I have a couple of things. I got Tom's resignation letter this morning, so I just want to appreciate his service, and he's been a great asset. He's brought a lot of constant, from an MRO's perspective, he's brought lots of knowledge and enthusiasm to the board, and I've appreciated his service and his friendship over the last year.
Appreciate it. I was enjoyed it.
He didn't resign, he allowed himself to expire.
That's so the term has expired.
Yeah,
I enjoyed doing this, and I think that the right momentum, the airport's going to grow. I mean, you go around this country, I've been spending a lot of time down in South Florida, but a lot of airports down there, and they're amazing in what they can be, and they can become part of the community. So I believe that is part of a growth part of a growing city, growth plan or what have you. But
Are your plans to move to South Florida?
yeah, eventually, probably somewhere Naples, that area. But I'm working.
Yeah, working's good.
Working's good. So.
All right. Two other housekeeping things. The contract for grass cutting is up for renewal. And we're not up for renewal, but it's been 4 years, and I've drafted an RFP. I probably would like to get that out. I'll probably get that to Josh probably next week to review. But anyway, it's that's something we probably need to do. I'll send it out, put a 30-day notice to get some proposals in, and we'll bring that up and revisit that in maybe in the March or April timeframe. Okay. And then next thing, the final thing, is insurance. And we have three types of insurance. We have airline-specific insurance or aviation-specific insurance. We have directors and officers liability insurance, almost $4 million of that. And we also have liability on our property and casualty on all those hangars, the 160,000 square feet of hangar space and buildings we manage. Well, we haven't, in the last 3 years, we haven't gone out and resolicited proposals on that. So I've got two insurance firms, one in Birmingham and one in Mobile, that are actually looking at, and I'm not saying we're happy where we are, but anytime you can maybe save a few dollars, especially on the liability insurance, that's really just a commodity. If you can find a better rate on that, you should do it. I'm not sure on the D&O and make sure I'm comparing everything for the aviation insurance. But anyway, I don't have anything to report tonight, but I am looking into it. Okay? Anything else?
One item that I wanted to bring up is, and I talked to Chip earlier today, with kind of some of the things that we have going on, we were looking to maybe find someone to be a press liaison. And I thought that maybe if Chip would be interested in that, that'd be a voice that could be kind of a singular voice to speak to people in between the monthly meetings. And if anyone would like to discuss that,
I think Chip, it brings a calm nature and a soothing spirit.
Just my blood pressure.
Thankless job.
Ray had asked me, so I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I'd be willing to do it.
That'd be great.
Since Tom's leaving, you can't do it.
Well, that wouldn't be a motion, but that's a great idea. Thank you for that suggestion.
Thanks, Ray.
Because we do have some press that are interested in what we're doing. So, okay. Any other business? Okay. Seeing no other business, open the comment to the public. Anybody have any comments about the airport authority? Okay.
Quit while we're ahead.
We are going to quit while we're ahead. Thank y'all for, the meeting is adjourned at 5 o'clock, and thank y'all for being here.